So if you're running a successful business that's doing over $50,000 a month in revenue, you need a strategic wealth plan. And you might be asking, well, why, Jackson? I'm still at this stage where I'm focusing on growing and scaling my business. I want to get to that highly coveted 7 figures, or maybe even it's my next 7 figures. And when I get to that mark, everything's going to be okay. I'm going to have more margin. I'm going to have more freedom. I'm going to hire more staff. I'm going to have less problems. Famous last words, right? The big issue here is that, yes, business is one of the best wealth creation vehicles that we can have. However, unless we've got a strategic wealth plan that aligns with our business growth plan, and ultimately our business can become a cash-eating monster and consume all of the surplus that is left over, resulting in us not building any wealth. Now, the reality is, for you to be financially free, you need a couple of things. You ultimately need to get to a point where you are completely debt-free, so you don't have the responsibilities and the ongoing commitment of paying, say, your household mortgage. Imagine your home is fully paid off and you don't need to worry about having that monthly commitment to the bank, particularly with these high interest rates at the moment. And the second thing that we need is we need enough passive income that allows us to have freedom and flexibility about how we choose to spend our time. And ultimately that comes from having investment assets that produce us with income by way of rent or by way of dividends that allow us to be able to provide for that lifestyle without us having to work for it. Now, your business is a fantastic asset, but it's an active asset. And our goal here needs to be to maximize the profitability of the business and to take that business profit and turn that into personal wealth. And we usually do that through a mixture of property and shares. Those are the compounding growth assets that are going to allow us to outpace inflation and ensure that it provides us with a suitable level of income in order to supplement our needs in retirement. The reality is that our business, the more profitable it is, the more valuable it is. And ultimately, by not having to rely on the future sale of your business, then you have the freedom and flexibility to be able to choose what you do with your business. I see a couple of mistakes that business owners make. One, they believe that wealth is a future thing. It's like, okay, I'm young, I'm 35, I'm not going to retire until I'm like 65. I got a really long way to go. I'm not going to worry about it now. I'll deal with that later on down the track. And that's a flawed perspective because wealth works based on compounding, and compounding works based on the most amount of time we have available for those assets to compound and snowball, okay? So ultimately, the sooner you start, the better the results are going to be long term. 2, I don't have the bandwidth to think about it right now, and I need to obsess and focus on my business exclusively. Now, business is exciting. It's great. I've built a lot of my wealth through business acquisitions and focusing on my business, but this is the idea of having the passive wealth on the side. If we keep focusing on this active asset and we keep continuing to double down on it, not only do we have all of our eggs in one basket, but ultimately we can find ourselves in a position where we've completely neglected the other side, which can detrimentally impact our path to financial freedom. And then the third part is relying on a sale of your business in order to be able to be financially free. The scary statistic is that less than 94% of businesses are sold for a profit. So 94% of businesses are not sold for a profit if they're sold at all. So there's 6% of businesses that are profitably sold once you consider the blood, sweat, and tears and the amount of contribution that the founder has made to the business, along with the typical shortfall that they've had in terms of personal earnings whilst they've been building the business. It's interesting. Most of us think that we get into business and we're going to trade our salary and our 9-to-5 job for freedom and flexibility, and we end up working double the amount of time for half the money. And this is a scary statistic, that most business owners place more emotional equity on the value of their business and they don't understand the true intrinsic value. So, do you want to rely on having to sell your business in order to be financially free? Or would you prefer to have a system that allows you that by maximizing the profitability, in turn you maximize the value of your business, we build enough wealth independently so when you do sell your business, it becomes cream on top? So when it comes to creating a strategic wealth plan as a business owner, there's a few things that we need to consider. One, we need to define our financial freedom figure. So how much income do you need per year in order to be financially free? Work out what are your essentials. What are the expenses that aren't going to be there? For example, mortgages paid off. What's your lifestyle cost going to be? Holidays, hobbies, interests, all of those kinds of things. And then what is the discretionary buffer that you'd like to have on top of that? Now, for most of our clients, that number ranges between about $150,000 up to about $500,000 per year, depending on the standard of their lifestyle. Once we've got that number and we work that out for you, we typically then use the financial freedom formula. So the financial freedom formula is that we take that number, we divide it by 5, and we multiply that by 100. The reason why we divide it by 5 is the assumption is that our portfolio can produce at least a 5% return after tax, ensuring that we don't erode the capital. So if we need $200,000 a year, divided by 5, multiplied by 100, means we need about $4 million in net wealth. So that becomes our net wealth target. And now what we need to work out is how long do we want to take before we get to financial freedom? So obviously it's going to be very different if we want it in 5 years compared to when we want it in 20. And this allows us to work out what is the minimum expected return we must produce, and also the minimum contribution we need to make to that wealth strategy in order to get you where you want to go in time. That allows us to set a personal income target to work out for you to maintain your lifestyle and have the surplus to contribute to your wealth. How much do you need to earn? And we can then set a profit target, we can set a revenue target, we can set a client target, and we can even set a leads target, allowing us to create a strategic wealth plan that connects the outcomes that are intrinsically motivating to you and your financial freedom goals for you and your family to the activity that you do in your business each and every single day. Now, imagine how much more motivated you're going to be when you know the exact activity required in order to achieve all of your goals, dreams, and aspirations. That if I do this, I will achieve this with a degree of certainty. This is what a good strategic wealth plan should look like for a business owner. It gives you confidence, it gives you clarity, it gives you direction, and it gives you focus. So if you're a business owner doing over $50,000 a month and you don't have a strategic wealth plan, your best next step is to jump onto wealthhealthcheck.com.au, complete the financial performance scorecard, which will evaluate how you're tracking towards financial freedom and some low-hanging financial fruit. It'll give you a customized report and it'll give you some insights around what your next best moves should be. Go jump on that and make sure that you take action.